Okay, this is part 2 of a lesson that we started last week on pain and suffering and existence of evil in our world. And we sort of, last week, talked theoretically about this in a lot of ways, in terms of some things that you can say in response to the, I guess it's kind of an accusation that we've got an all-loving and all-powerful God, and yet we have pain and suffering and evil in the world. You know, what do you say to that? And we looked at that last week and some things that are reasonable responses to that, and even some rational reasons why that's the case. This week, though, we're going to get a little more personal. What will actually happen when evil and pain and suffering show up in the life of someone who's a believer and who really doesn't deserve that? How are we supposed to handle that? What do we do with that? Something that threatens us personally. And so, regarding the theoretical versus reality, have you guys experienced this, that it's one thing to say, okay, this has an answer in theory, and it's quite another to say, this is happening to me right now. And so not only does there need to be an answer, but it needs to be one that I can handle, that me personally can deal with. And so Tom Bodette once said, in school you're taught a lesson and then given a test. In life you're given a test that teaches you a lesson. So fortunately for us, God's Word has recorded a variety of examples of how suffering can actually invade the lives of people who love God, and what we can learn from all of that. And so it's not a question of if, really. It's a question of when suffering comes into our lives. These examples can give us strength. As Romans 15:4 tells us, whatever things were written before were written for our learning, that we through the patience and comfort of the Scriptures might have hope. And so when we read these stories in the Bible about people who suffered tremendous suffering and pain, it's intended to give us hope. It's intended to help us through life and the suffering that we will face. And again, we all know it's not theoretical at the end of the day. So we'll begin with probably the most well-known and I guess famous example of this, and that's the story of Job, whose name has probably become synonymous even with people who are not believers, with suffering and pain